Alright, another video. I know, too many. Way too many. But it's one of those kind of days. Having a rough day. So anyway, this guy, Idea Antichrist. Okay. Ideal Antichrist. Idol Antichrist. Idol. Okay. Idol Antichrist. Sorry. Semi-illiterate. But anyway, yeah, I just don't, he asked 3 questions, so yeah, I'll post this on the antinatalism board, but I mean, it's, these are really rudimentary questions, but it's a quick video, gets to the point, so I'll answer it.
Hey, antinatalism is something that's caught my eye recently. I know some antinatalists are subscribers of mine, and rather than making some berating video about my reservations, I'd rather pose you a few questions, and invite those among you who hold this position to make video responses.
It's kind of a weird way to put it, but whatever. Please berate all you want. If you got some berate, okay, that isn't personal. If you can berate the argument, if you can attack the argument, the analogies that have been stated over and over again, if you can answer the big question, which is what's the point of creating a need that doesn't need to exist, that would be a good one. So berate me on that question, please. I mean, it'd be nice if somebody answered my questions once in a while.
The antinatalists that I've spoken to so far have been rational and polite, so I reckon this is probably going to be a good way to further the conversation, and mainly avoid pissing anyone off or encouraging confusion. Firstly, Could you briefly explain why you're an antinatalist, and why you think other people should be too?
Well, whatever. I mean, this is just basic logic, right? So you're going to ask somebody, why are you a vegetarian, and why do you think other people should be too? Why are you against rape? Why do you think other people should be against rape? Why are you against slavery, and why do you think other people should be against slavery? Why are you against making Frankenstein monsters, and why do you think other people should be against making Frankenstein monsters? Look, if you've heard the discussion, you know that there's different elements to the argument. There's this imposition argument, which is you're essentially, when you're having children, drawing straws. You're gambling with something else's welfare. And if you come up with that really short straw and you hand it to that kid, there's not a damn thing you can do to fix it, okay? You're just saying, tough shit, fella. And that's unfair. It's like dragging somebody someplace they don't want to go and forcing them to endure a suffering they don't want. There's no contract, there's no right to impose the pain for your delusion that there's an accomplishment, because you can't prove any accomplishment in what you're doing. The second argument is this asymmetry thingy with the fact that, yeah, you can't, there's no harm. The fail-safe position is just not to play with this thing. It's all fire. There's no water. It's just dangerous. It's intrinsically dangerous. It's making a mess and then cleaning up your mess. There's just no point in that. Sentience creates all the need in the universe. So you want to eliminate the need, you just eliminate the sentience. It's not complicated. Pretty straightforward, logically.
Secondly, if you support...
other people should support it because it's rational. It's a logical thing to do. That's sort of like the Benatar book. It's kind of just a logical explanation for why life is kind of fail. It's just a cycle of addiction. Just stop being addicted, and it's fine. Problem solved. No more suffering.
Yeah. The extinction of the human species, for whatever reason. Why haven't you acted on this in a violent way yet?
Well, it's just kind of a stupid notion. I mean, what? I mean, look, if you gave me the option to press some button and just make the Earth disappear from the universe, I'd press the button, okay? Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll take responsibility. My conscience is... it's the fair, honorable, sensible, rational thing to do. Yeah, so any end has to be justified by a means. So, yeah, you calculate out how many people are going to be tortured in the future, and you say, okay, if I kill one person now, it's the Adolf Hitler scenario. You kill Hitler's mother, and you prevent World War II. Well, you're probably going to do it, right? Because it's a rational thing to do, even though it's a taking. So yeah, there's equations like that, but obviously there's no place to do that as one individual. One individual can't go out into the world and just start murdering people. I mean, you're going to talk sense in the rest. All the questions aren't this stupid, are they? Why don't I just, make a turban bomb and blow up the planet? I mean, come on. It's kind of silly.
Human hope you haven't anyway. The desired outcome of antinatalism is to end all suffering. Well, presumably shortening lives is going to lessen suffering.
Well, that's just a silly notion. Again, it's about the imposition argument first. That's the strongest argument, in my opinion. I mean, it's the strongest from a personal living point of view. All right, from a personal human point of view, it's the easiest to understand, the easiest one to get comfortable with psychologically. The second argument is the one that's totally antithetical to our nature. Our nature is survival built. And, we just keep on, enduring. And so we have to overcome that with logic, with a sensible, rational understanding that if I'm a slave, there's no point in me having a baby because he's going to be a slave. So either end slavery or I don't have kids. So the point is we really can't fix replicating DNA molecule competing with itself. We can't fix that, okay? It's a stupid mechanism. All your pleasures are basically, if you really look at them, they're derived out of ego gratifications that have to do with winners and losers, about you successfully mastering something or successfully defeating something. It's all built out of really negative psychology that you're just feeding. And when you feed the negative, you gain a sense of satisfaction. But that's the real catch here. That's the Benatar scenario, that life isn't really made out of anything of real value. And the suffering does have real negative value.
And lastly, if technology elevates us to a point where we no longer harm the environment in any way and can choose to feel perpetually content and euphoric, would you still support antinatalism?
Well, we wouldn't be sentient by any rational definition of the word then, because it's a complete reconfiguration of the entire dynamic. And I would still argue that what would be the point in it. I mean, if I could make some sort of new insect tomorrow, I can just invent it in the laboratory, and it just, whacks off all day and goes, ah. Would I bother doing that? Would I make a trillion of them or a gazillion of them? No, I'd say this is stupid. I mean, it's interesting, but it's stupid as hell. And you certainly wouldn't do it if there's any downside risk that the experiment gets out of control and creates a whole bunch of horror and misery. So your little delusion here, if technology makes us gods, well, again, what God had a rational thought? What was the rational thought to creation? So if you're going to claim to be a God and that somehow explains it, you're going to have to explain what's God's rational purpose. Every God I've heard of always had some kind of stupid notion. I have nothing to do in my eternity and I will create a man. Or some kind of, why? It's like their heaven. It doesn't have any form. So anyway, all bets are off, or whatever. Like I said, you're not going to. It's just totally unrealistic, and doesn't have anything to do with practical probability. So if you can make it seem like a more practical opportunity for that to happen, like you're actually going to be able to somehow structure these organisms into something that doesn't need the negative to derive itself a positive. Make the argument. Show me the technology, but I just don't think you can do it with sentience. Maybe we can do it with something else, but you can't do it with sentience. So anyway, enough of that. So we'll move on to Ben. Yay, Ben. Anyway, so he made this response video. Good of him to do it, to clarify things, but, a little redundant, don't say. But anyway, so we'll go through these little key parts and just get this cleared up and get over with and done with and finished and whatnot. I didn't play the last 3 minutes of his video because I just don't, there's no point in dragging it out, in my opinion. Oops, gotta do this. Gotta hit enter. Should be close to the right place.
So yeah, I'm serious about these issues.
Thank you, YouTube.
Too. When I say that I don't care about the extinction thing, that's only from the point of view that I think it's unrealistic to even think about that at this stage. I'm not saying. I have said.
Okay, we're going to say similar things in these next segments too, so I'll be reiterating the same point, but I just might going to make it clear so you understand. I fundamentally disagree with your premise that you can make the argument rationally for antinatalism, for some necessity, the urgency even, to get the job done. I don't think people are going to be urgent enough, recognizing the need for this to get done, understanding the entire context, to gain enough passion or even interest, without this component of understanding this asymmetry and understanding this imposition nature, understanding the root core of the DNA molecule is the problem. Okay, the problem isn't just society and little superficial problems that we've banged into through technical progress. The problem is the basic structure of the thing. The thing itself can't be cured. It's fundamentally broken. It's DNA copies competing with themselves in a life and death struggle that always ends in death anyway. I mean, it's so really fucking stupid. If you win, you lose. And you're always going to lose. So if you lose, you lose. And if you win, you lose. There's just no winning. And I think that's important to the argument. Really important to the argument. It's not just a little piece of the argument. It's the fucking foundation, the core of it. And so I think it needs to be... I just don't see any... I don't see any rational point in extracting that from the argument. Oh, I already did this one. Alright, so I missed one. Well, we'll just play 2 clips. Because it's all basically the same argument he just keeps making. That this is the pragmatic way to get the job done, blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with the premise that this is the way it needs to get argued. And I also don't agree that I want to be part of a bait and switch. Or... some sort of thing where you show them the new car and then you find out it has the engine of a 1956 Volkswagen. I mean, it just... There's a gimmick to that. I don't like gimmicks. It's sort of obvious I don't like gimmicks. I'd use more gimmicks if I liked gimmicks. I don't like gimmicks.
Then to me... how you can jump from things as we are now to everyone in the world agreeing that we need to make everything extinct.
Well, again, you're arguing that everybody in the world's going to agree, and that's probably not the way it's going to play out. Like with civil wars and other things, there's probably going to have to be big, nasty, harsh conflict. But the great news for the anti-natalist is once they have power, all right, once they have even a slim majority, they can just extort the rest of the world to play ball. Alright? Because they can just make their little doomsday device and say, look, if you Muslims aren't going to play along, we're going to blow we're going to blow you to hell. Okay? Because, yeah, our whole end game is an end game. Alright? And you're going to try to get in our way. You're going to stop us for doing this the right way. And so if that's going to be your mission, then we're not going to get along. Now, you can peacefully live your life out, pray to Allah all you want, but you can't have more Allah lovers. Okay, it's all over. Okay, you're all going to go to God now, and that'll be the last generation going to God. And if God wants to stop us, he's going to have to strike us with lightning or something like that, right? You believe he's all powerful and all that shit? Well, let him stop us. Okay, let him thwart us. But we're not going to let you fuck us. I mean, those kind of arguments are going to be made. So the point is once anti-natalists are the majority, it's going to be real hard for anybody to fight with them because they are a perfect army. They have nothing to lose. They're not fighting to win. Alright? They're fighting for a graceful end. And they can fight with that a lot harder than you can fight for when you're trying to save it because you want to take it over. We don't want to live on their land. So we can make it radioactive. Who cares? So anyway, but yeah, like I said, the end game is incidental to the argument. But I do agree that it has to be acknowledged, in my opinion. You can't just pretend that you're going to, everybody's going to understand and everybody's going to get it and no one's going to be a fucktard. No, we know people are fucktarded right now. Somebody just went into a fucking beauty salon and killed 9 people. For no good reason. Because I had a fight with my wife, so I'm going to kill a bunch of people and make my kids orphans. Because I care and I love them. Yeah, so there's irrational assholes on planet Earth, and that's just the truth. And they're just not going to come along. And so the end game is going to have to be, it's going to have to be policy, laws. And you've already heard those, and you agree with some of those. All right, give people incentives to do the right thing, and if they're not going to do the right thing, well, then there's no other choice but for the hammer to fall. Yeah, it falls every day. There's 2 million people in jail here. Okay, and a lot of them for stupid, idiotic crimes. I say we put people in jail for real crimes, crimes where they have contempt for the purpose of civilization. And once antinatalists are the majority, they are the purpose of civilization. They get to define the purpose of civilization. And it's not going to be to pray to God, and it's not going to be to perpetuate an imposition game that has absolutely no hope of producing anything of real value. So anyway, look, nothing personal, Ben. Blah 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 blah. I didn't want to get into the drama. I shouldn't. You know, I was a little bit apprehensive, but like I said, Jay had made one video. It was a strong video, just pointing out that this is what antinatalism is, and I'm not ashamed of it. And I liked that video. All right, I liked it, and so that's what I was feeding off of. So I'm sorry if I offended you or slighted you. I'm sorry you interpreted it that way. I didn't, but I'm sorry you interpreted it that way, because I really wasn't. I was just trying to defend and support the emphasis that I liked. So anyway, enough said. I think it's enough said. I think we're done, I think. So anyway, till next time, and such, and whatnot, and so forth, and whatever. Oh yeah, I want to mention something. Yeah, I've been just messing with words, so people, you could think about words. When I post my next YouTube video, you can post it in the comment, like on the weekend, of what the fuck or something. Maybe you could use that. Just something like, I was thinking we could use EFIL as an acronym, but then we need some kind of like, what does it spell out? Like EFIL, and that's a little hard to come up with something, existence fail in Loserland. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, you come up with all these words like a discontinuist, what is this? Attritionist? I sort of like that. Just have life die out, attrition. I like that. Life termination project, life uninfestation project, a de-infestation project, unpopulationist, depopulationist, I don't know, undoist, I don't. So anyway, if you come up with any kind of good stuff that has a good acronym, even one that even goes with EFIL, since I already have that channel, yeah, work on it. And if you don't feel like working on it, don't. I don't care. But yeah, we just need a better word, because antinatalism is too much about too many other agendas. And I don't, unlike Ben points out here, he doesn't like groups and stuff. I don't have any problem being labeled for convenience. And I want to be a mob. I do. At some point, I want to be part of a mob. Okay, a mob for this kind of change. I want to be Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I want to be a mob. A mob that says, fuck you, we're not putting up with this shit no more. the game's over. We're changing the rules. Yeah, so I want to be part of a mob. With a banner and letters and big letters with periods and such. Yeah, great. EFIL. Yeah. I'm all for it.